And we're back. Hey, gang. So, today we're going to go over one of the books that I do not have a physical copy of here in the Nook. I had to read it on my ebook reader, and it is Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames. And the boys are back in town. All right? Had to refresh myself a little bit on this one because admittedly I read it a couple of months ago, right after I got done reading all of Dungeon Crawler Carl's series. I continue to mention that name and I will do it a lot. Um, Kings of the Wild is a story about a band, and that band is back together. Sometimes it's good to gather up the boys and get the band back together, you know what I mean? And this one goes over the tale of Gabriel and Clay Cooper. They are not related. Gabriel has his own last name, and I unfortunately can't recall it at this current time. They are a retired band who used to go through the wilds and wreak havoc, fighting all types of disastrous monsters that you could contemplate, including rabbit people. That's right, druids. I do remember that. They are basically immortal outside of the fact that they can be killed. Kind of tricky, the whole immortality thing. They may just have really long lifespans. Anyway, this is also a tale of a damsel in distress, so it's one of those tales as old as time. And before we get too far into it, let's go over the criteria for what we do with these reviews. One, the readability. Is it a difficult read? Does it have a lot of hard to read words? Languages that you need to know, like Latin? Pretty much the only language that seems to pop up in other books, unless you're reading like a book with French stuff in it or something, baguette. Um, then the cover of the book, which here we've got on the old e reader because I like to judge every single book by its cover. The should you have it on your bookshelf requirement, which should honestly be probably requirement number five. Eventually, I'll get to re remembering the order of how these things go. The plot and the characters. So, with that in mind, let's get right on into it. Let's get the band back together again, all right? Clay is retired and doing what retired warriors do, and is basically on light guard duty in his mountainous hometown, having aspirations of opening up a tavern and, being a regular human bartender, like our friend Jackie Daytona. Clay wants to just put his old shield up on the wall. I believe it's called Oakheart, which is carved from an ancient ent that they battled in the wilds and is quite formidable as a shield and saves many a life. He happens upon a visit from his old friend Gabe, who is down and out. He is not looking good. He's dirtier than a bag of rocks, which coincidentally he's carrying on his back. His daughter, Rose, is missing. She went out into the wilds and has not come back. So we've essentially skipped on ahead to the plot, and there you have it, damsel in distress. Okay? The readability of this book is quite easy. It was not a difficult read. It was a fun read, and I completed it in a couple of days. I had a little bit of a break in between with this one and kind of savored it a little bit. And I wish I had Moog's hat, which is a wizard in the story, which is capable of producing many rotisserie chickens that Kenny Rogers roasters would have arguably wanted to have, and they'd probably still be in business. Rest in peace, Kenny Rogers roasters. The readability on this one is a one. It is not difficult. Anybody and their mother who is capable of looking at words on a page and is not illiterate can pick up Kings of the Wild, this fantasy novel by Nicholas Eames, and enjoy it thoroughly. And you will enjoy this one. I have not read the second one yet, which is called Bloody Rose. but it furthers the story as you get to the culmination of Kings of the Wild. I did really enjoy the characters in this one, which we'll get to in a bit. But for now, it's a very easy read. One, which is a good thing in this case. Five would be for difficulty. One is for ease of reading, simplistic in its nature. The cover art is, about as Viking or bandish as you can get. And again, we've got our hero, Clay Cooper, there in the front. He is the de facto leader, doesn't want to be the leader of the band. And essentially, him and Gabe embark on a journey to get the rest of the band back together. If you've ever had a circle of friends that were very tight knit, like I have in the past, one of your favorite things is getting the band back together for a little rabble rousing, a little rapscallion esque activity, going out there and just gallivanting with the boys. And that's what this tale consists of. It's, some older heads, which is nice because I'm an older head myself now, in my 40s, early 40s. Give me some credit, minus the gray hairs. I understand what it's like for your back to hurt from doing very light duty. I went bowling a couple of weeks ago and pulled my back because I didn't stretch beforehand. Stretch every day, not just when you need to. That's just a little side tip. So Gabe and Clay go to get the rest of the band back together. The band consists of Clay Cooper, Gabriel, Moob, Matrick, who happens to be somewhat of a king of kings himself, and Ganelon, Ganleon, Ganelion, Evangelion. So Clay, Gabe, Moob, Matrick, and Neon Genesis Evangelion walk into a band. Havoc ensues. His name is Ganelon. Ganelion, Ganelon. Perhaps I should bring the difficulty of the book up to a 2 just because of his name alone. Ganelon is Hercules, without lack of a better phrasing. He's not immortal, but he's lived a really long damn time because he was once turned into stone. And I don't know about you, but that's not the kind of stoned I want to be. Moob is a wizard. As I said earlier, he's got an awesome hat that conjures food. I wish I had it. I wouldn't have to pay these exorbitant grocery prices. You guys feeling those recession vibes? Matrick is the rogue. He is the dagger user and quite good at them, even though he will drop them from time to time. Ganelon likes an axe. Gabriel has a very beautiful sword that he inherited from a druid who really, really, really hated his son. Turns out there's a very big plot twist with that druid, and you'll have to read to find out. Clay is the tank. So you've got a pretty good group of World of Warcraft characters here. You've got your tank, you've got your mage, you've got your rogue, you've got your fighter and Ganelon, and who's the other guy? Oh yeah, Gabe is also a fighter. So you've got 2 fighters to take your DPS, 3 DPS actually, your support through the mage who kind of bumbles his way through things, and your tank. That's a pretty solid band, and they've gotten back together. And wouldn't you know it, they become the Kings of the Wild again. What is the name of the band? I can't remember what the name of the band is. It's Band Aid. Um, it has relevance in the book. I've totally lost it at this point. Maybe I can take a look real quick. Just give me a second. I'll talk my way through it. You guys can just hold on. All right? Just hold on. Okay? It's Saga. The band's name is Saga. All right? I told you I would get there. Just hold your horses. So the boys are back in town and they have reunited Saga, which is a band, not to be confused with a rock group, which surprisingly enough is a little meta joke that's in the book itself. And I forgot where I was because usually we're on, whether or not The cover art is any good. We've jumped right on into the plot. We've jumped right on into the characters, but I felt I should introduce them anyway. Cover art. Simple. One of my favorite things. Red, white, and gray. I don't know why I like this motif so much, but the red text really jumps out with the gray, shadowy figures in the drawings here. You can see Ganelin in his axe. You can see Clay in his shield. Moog is back there being all Dumbledore. You've got Matrick over here on the left, and Gabe is in the back because he's a bit of a coward until he has to do the damn thing. And then he does it with gusto. So, cover art, a 3.5 out of 5. You get a very good representation of the characters, but it doesn't really go over the plot too much. It doesn't really give you any inkling of what you're getting other than the band back together. I seem to bookmark page 2 of the ebook. Thanks. I'll be sure to return to that because I might get lost along the way, just like traveling in the wilds. Should you own this book? Not required. You can very clearly get an ebook copy, however you like to do that. You can get it from the library if they have it. Mine, for some reason, did not. They must hate Nicholas Eames personally. I don't know why. He wrote a good book. So, a no on the should you own it, a yes on should you read it. That's very clear. I'm quite enthusiastic about this one. So let's go into the plot. We've already discussed it just a little bit. The band Saga is getting back together. Clay has met with Gabe. They discuss things, much to his wife's dismay. Clay goes on his way, and I'm out of rhymes by the end of the day. There is peril. There's a Colosseum. That Colosseum gets thoroughly destroyed. It's a fun portion of the book. There are rabbit men who are quite mean and very old. There are giants. There are cyclopses. There is a borderline Rastafarian voodoo doing troll. And we're basically into the characters now. But again, we've got a damsel in distress story that goes on for about 400 or so pages. I don't know how ebooks translate into the actual books, but this one again is about 400 pages. It is a page turner. You are going to want to continue to go through this story and absorb it, and that's part of the charm. Just like Mood in his very rambunctious way of doing things. And by the way, he solves the ED epidemic. So, guys, if you've got some of those issues as you get older, Moog understands, and he's developed a phylactery that will help you with that. It helps a little bit too much sometimes, and yeah, well, we'll let Nicholas Eames describe that for you in the book. So let's just go with the plot rating. Again, Damsel in Distress has been done. A band going out and fighting monsters. It's been done. Has it been done by Nicholas Eames? Nicholas Eames? Yes, it has now, and it's a solid again 3.5 out of 5. The characters are where this book really shines. Again, while you've got the tank, the mage, the warrior, or the warrior, the fighter, and the rogue, that's all been done before. These characters are fun, somewhat relatable, honestly. Again, as an older man, I could certainly, like I said, relate to your back hurting a little bit more than you expected it to when you do something that you haven't done in a while. Um, Caring for your children, I can relate to that quite a bit. If anybody tried to abscond with my daughter, I would use a certain set of skills that I have acquired along the way, and Liam Neeson the hell out of that shit. Okay, so I can get with it. Again, the Kenny Rogers Roasters hat that just spits out rotisserie chickens. Wish I had it. I would doff it upon my head and eat many of its givings. The side characters are also interesting. Like I said, there's a rabbit man, and he is the antagonist of the story, and you'll get into that if you read the book, and I highly recommend it. Matrick, poor guy, his wife is a whore. It's very well known that he's a whore, and for whatever reason, cuckoldry pops up in so many books. It's just part of the zeitgeist now. Men, guard your ladies, all right? Don't let them go gallivanting around like the band. Stay with them and keep them happy. Very important. Clay would tell you that. It's the impetus to a nuclear family. Nuclear, okay? You want to have a nuclear family. Stay together, treat them well. Anyway, Gabe lost his daughter because he let her go gallivanting around the wilds. If he didn't, we wouldn't have this tale. Matrick, however, doesn't want to be with his wife anymore, doesn't want to be king of his castle, doesn't want to be watching a bunch of kids that aren't his, and I don't blame him. Sometimes you got to strike back out on your own, and the way he does it is quite entertaining and has a bit of a send off to go with it. If you catch my drift, if you've read the story, if you have read the story, go ahead and comment below and let me know how you felt about it. Looks like my screen turned off. We'll go ahead and just put that down now. Again, the side characters, very interesting. You've got the Rastafarian esque troll that I was not expecting, that coincidentally comes up with a cure for one of the biggest reasons for why you don't go into the wilds anymore, which is very akin to Elden Ring in that you get a type of rot. Not the scarlet rot, just rot. It will take over your body. I believe it's also in Game of Thrones where their arms, the one guy turns into stone. There's like a whole dude who's almost stone. One of the main characters later on in the story, his arm is turning into stone and he doesn't tell Daenerys. Yeah, the White Knight, the little White Knight that goes with Daenerys. His arm turns into stone. So they've got their version of rot that there's peril if you just go wandering into the wilds. You're going to probably die either by a monster or the rot, or your own misfortune because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Which is a major part of the story as well, that the younger generation is just not doing things the way that traditionally things have been done. Another tale as old as time. Get with it, kids. You're fucking up the vibe. Um, what did I give the plot? I gave the plot a 3.5 because it's been around the block again. The characters are a 5. This is another one of the rare books where I give the characters a solid 5 out of 5. I just enjoyed it. It was a great read from top to bottom, front to back, if you will. Maybe you don't read your books upside down like I do, but with an e-reader, it's top to bottom, right? Um, yeah, 5 out of 5, which brings us to a total average, we'll say, because one is a good thing. So we've got 5, we've got 3.5, 3.5, 3.5, and a 5. We're going to say that's a 4 on average and walk out the door with a solid 4. Okay? The band is back together. You should take a look at their tale, read it, enjoy it, tell your friends about it. This was another recommendation by one of my friends, the same one who recommended Johannes Cabal the Necromancer, and I didn't listen to him. This time I did, and I did it in a lot less than 3 years. You'll like this tale. Again, this one is Kings of the Wyld by Nicholas Eames. I don't know how well this is translating into the camera. If I've got to superimpose a JPEG over top of it, I will. I don't think I need to. Oh well, now you were looking at my primary home screen. Kings of the Wyld by Nicholas Eames is the book. don't worry about should you own it or not. You could just go ahead and get the ebook. Yeah, why did I give it an extra 3.5? That was for the ownability. That's kind of a, not really on the scale. A 4, right? A 4. 4! Look out, because this book's coming at you. And that's the end of our review. I hope you enjoyed sitting in the nook with me and hearing about another story or two. This one will be enjoyable if you take a look at it. As always, leave a comment if you've read the book or any other things that you'd like me to do with this series. Like, and as always, subscribe. It's going to go blink, give you a little reason to go ahead and subscribe and get more of these reviews in the future. All right? I doff my cap at you and bid you adieu.